Good morning guys, and welcome to another video with real world comparisons and reviews with no filter. Today the 9.9 Yamaha versus the 15 horsepower Yamaha 4-stroke, so the same vintage on the back of the 300 Tuffy. Real world comparisons, which means no perfectly figured blokes, just guys getting out fishing, and we're going to see what these outboards do and compare them so you can make a better decision. Now before we go any further, I'm going to try and keep this as short as I can, but I've caused some massive controversy off that last video where we took the Tuffy out in the open water in the rougher days. I've been asked not to do it, I've been asked not to promote it. Are we going to stop it? Heck no. Guys, if you're not an experienced skipper, do not try what we're doing. We've been doing this for a long time before YouTube. Our background is small boats, big fish. So drive to your personal limitations, don't drive to the boats. Look, we know what these Tuffies are capable of, we know what we're capable of, and we know how to get home safely most of the time. And just stick to your limitations, guys. Like, be safe. If you don't feel comfortable, go in, don't stay out there, okay? Guys, also, I get picked up a lot on calling my Tuffy a tough tender. Guys, come on, who cares? I know it's a Tuffy, you know it's a Tuffy, we all know it's a Tuffy. A tough tender is just a reference to a fantastic line of boats that this boat here was modelled off. So they're closer than you think. But guys, I'm going to do my best to satisfy you in your armchairs and call them Tuffies more often. All right, guys, stay tuned. Let's get this happening. If you like what you see, like, subscribe, all the bullshit that goes along with it. Let's get into this video. So here we are, guys. We're down at the beautiful Canning River. As you can see, bit of a glass off in close, but out the back there, the easterly's probably blowing 10 or 12 knots, which is not perfect conditions. But does that mean we're not going to do the review, Scott?
Nah, let's get to it.
It's real time and it's real situations, not this back at the lab stuff. Now look guys, I could run through all the information on both the 9.9 and the 15, but instead just look up there. There's all the information you require. If you can't read, go find someone who can, because personally I think we need to get down to the actual real-time running of the motors
and the fun things.
Yeah, the fun things. I mean, at school, did you ever like the written stuff?
Nah, just get out there, run amok, have some fun. So let's get on the water and let's get these engines started and show you guys the reviews that you guys want to see.
So what we've done as well, we've made sure that both Scott and I have both come underneath the weight limit of the Polycraft here. Now it does say 3 people at 217, which I think gives an average weight of about 70 kilos. That's also not real time. I mean, Scott here, he's a beanpole and he weighs closer to 80. So I mean, to find 3 blokes come out, look, let's just not go there. Real time, real stuff. Hatches are full of fishing gear. We've got the anchor, we've got all the weight that we'd usually carry, so it's not like we've lightened the hull for this particular test. We're going to get Scott in the boat first, and he's going to run through a series of trials. I'll then jump in the boat with the 15. We'll run the same trials, and then we'll put the 9 on and we'll do the same thing over. Right, see you on the water. So as you can see there, guys, that was the 15 horsepower, first with just Scott, second with just myself, so that was equivalent to a 1-up, and then with me in it was equivalent to almost a 2 up, and then of course with a 3 up. You know, the funny thing was the top speed on all of them was around the 20 to 21 knots. There wasn't a huge differential with the 15 horsepower. Now keep in mind the 15 horsepower does have an extra 12 odd kilos on the 9.9, so it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens with this 9.9. My prediction's going to be we ain't even getting on the plane with just myself on it, but you know what, Yamahas always do surprise. Let's get it on the back of the boat and see how we go. Bam! 9.9 on the back of the poly. That's good. Magic. Oh, Scott.
Life jacket. Safety
life jacket.
Thanks.
We'll get Scott in the boat now. Let's see what this little baby can do. Right, so there you go, guys. There's the results of the speed test and so forth. So now what we're going to do is we're going to run you through some of the personal settings we found we had to run today to get the best performance out of these two Yamahas. We're also going to run you through a bit more, not tech spec I suppose, but just a little bits and pieces. So to start off with, we plonked both these outboards straight on the transom because we wanted this test to be as realistic as we could for the average person. Didn't we, Scott?
Yeah, we sure did.
We then had to find out what pin on the trim was going to be the most effective. So on the 15 it was 3rd pin out. On the little 9.9 it was 2nd pin out. Now keep in mind, I think a big thing I need to remember here, Scott's the weight reduction that you've got between the 15 and the 9.
Definitely.
You know, the 9 horsepower is, as I said, a lot lighter. It does keep that transom out of the water, however you do lose a lot of top end as you've seen. And 3 guys, would you consider this outboard with 3 guys, Scott?
No, definitely not.
You're going to be all right with 2 bean poles like Scott, but you're never ever going to get away with big fellas like me at all. Look, the other thing we need to remember is, I mean, the 9's running a smaller prop than the 15 is, but what we're going to be trying in coming weeks, we're going to try a smaller prop on the 15. Now I know you're going to probably ask why, and that's purely because the top end speed in these polycrafts, over 20 knots, they're really not usable, are they, Scott?
No, not really.
What do you reckon, spray?
Obviously I think it comes into a whole lot of factors realistically, but I think spray would be one of the major factors to that situation. Yeah,
I'd agree. Look, even on the smoothest of days when you're really pinning these boats at top speed, which is about 21, I reckon I could probably get 22 if I really tried. They're just not usable. We're not going to be fitting hydrofoils to brand new Yamahas. It's just a silly suggestion, to be honest with. For me personally, I'm not saying that it's not right for you, but for me, I'm not drilling into an outboard. Look, we'll run through some stuff. I've just jumped on a couple of websites to get a ballpark figure on what these Yamahas cost. Now, of course, we got all our stuff from Boat City here in Perth in Balcatta. The 9.9 horsepower has got a significant saving on money, so if you are on a budget and you are lighter people, then maybe the 9.9 could be the right thing for you. The 9.9 is coming in at roughly $3,300, so $3,300. whereas the 15 is coming in here at just over 4, so 4.1. Now this is not Boat City prices. If you want their prices, give them a call, because I'm sure Anthony, Dave or Graham will look after you well. Keep in mind, as I said, we have got the 11 kilo weight difference on them and so forth. But I think we could wrap this up well. Let's get that in there. I think we can wrap this up really well. I personally, my opinion, Scott, go the 15.
I totally agree, definitely.
Now, I'll get Scott's opinion on why he thinks a 15 in a second, but my personal opinion is the 15, you can travel 3 up with gear, with anchor. In these hatches, I've got all my drone gear, I've got all my batteries for my GoPro and all my added weight. Now, I know this boat inside and out, so this is a personal opinion on why I think the 15 is a better outboard. This is not Scott's boat. In fact, I think this is the first time Scott's ever been on this boat. So now he can give you an outsider's opinion on why he thinks the 15 might be a better option.
Yeah, well, I think for the 15 for the poly is definitely the right fit. Definitely not the 9.9. But if you're running, like, let's say an aluminium boat that's a little bit lighter, beautiful, go for the 9.9. But realistically, the poly is somewhat of a heavy boat. Once you put all your gear in it, exactly what Brendan said, you need to think about obviously the weight. And I think the 15 is obviously just the ideal motor. Obviously, with the 9.9, you can obviously maybe do some upgrades to it. But realistically, it's just easy, just paying the extra couple of dollars, getting the 15, and you're not going to have any problems with it.
It's a bit more versatile, the 15 as well, isn't it?
It is.
I think you'll also find, and I reckon the 15 is a lot less temperamental with weight distribution, as Scott was saying, and I should have touched on that, is this Polycraft hull, the Tuffy, is coming in at 108 kilos, so it is heavy. How are these flies? And I do feel that the 15 is just that little less temperamental. You can get a bit more weight down the transom, and where that helps you in these Polycraft boats is it does bring the bow up a little bit and get that water out. Now, keep in mind as well, I've still got people saying that these are a wet hull, and sure, they are wet if you don't know how to drive them. Learn your boat. It doesn't matter what boat it is. It can be this Polycraft, it can be a dinghy, as Scott said, it could be an 8-meter boat. A boat is only as wet as the skipper. If you know how to drive your boat, your particular boat, and you learn it well, then I think you're going to be all right. Personally, this boat, when I first got it, it was damn wet, but I've tinkered with it and I've learned the boat, and that's all it is to it. It's not rocket science, is it, Scott?
No, definitely not. Just drive to the conditions, and yeah, you can't expect to dry a hull if you're going to be a little bit of a dimwit on the water.
Yeah, that's a dimwit, exactly. So look, guys, I think we'll wrap that up here. I think we've covered most things. If there's any questions you got that we didn't cover in this video, because look, to be honest, when you're doing a comparison, Scott, I think there's probably a million things we could have done.
Yeah, you can't cover everything, can you? So there's always another thing, but let us know if there's anything that you want to see, and we can certainly help you out with that.
That's right, and if we can't film it, ask it in the comments below. We do reply to every single comment, and we can answer it based on our test. Now, I will also say today that on the test, we got the fuel reader on the fuel tank. We're going to get there.
Amateur hour.
Yeah, amateur hour, big time. But both of the outboards were actually fairly similar in fuel consumption, which blew us away. We don't have exact figures because we've got an analog, not a digital fuel reader, but it is something. And you know what? Here's the further ventures in the Tuffy. Bit of tough life, I call it, Scott. The tough life.
Yeah, why not?
All right, guys, like, subscribe, hit that bell, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
See you later.